Book of Enoch is an ancient Jewish text that is believed to have been written between the 3rd and 1st centuries BCE. The book is named after Enoch, who was the great-grandfather of Noah, and is mentioned in the book of Genesis as having lived for 365 years before being taken by God. The Book of Enoch is not considered part of the Jewish or Christian canon, but it was highly regarded by early Christians and Jews alike. The book was discovered in Ethiopia in the 18th century, and copies of it were brought back to Europe. There are 3 main parts to the Book of Enoch: the Book of Watchers, the Book of Parables, and the Book of Astronomy. The Book of Watchers describes the fall of the angels who lusted after human women and produced a race of giants. The Book of Parables contains a series of visions given to Enoch, and the Book of Astronomy describes the movements of the heavenly bodies. The book had a significant influence on early Christian theology, particularly in the areas of angelology and eschatology. It was quoted by several early Christian writers, including Tertullian and Origen, and was considered scripture by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Although the Book of Enoch was never officially included in the Bible, it continues to be of interest to scholars and readers interested in ancient Jewish and Christian literature. Its influence can be seen in works such as the Book of Jubilees, the Testaments of the 12 Patriarchs, and the Book of Revelation. Lilith is a figure in Jewish mythology who has been interpreted in a variety of ways throughout history. In the earliest versions of the myth, Lilith was believed to be a demon who preyed on newborn children and pregnant women. The story of Lilith first appears in the Babylonian Talmud, which dates back to the 5th century CE. According to the Talmud, Lilith was Adam's first wife, created from the same dust as he was, and was equal to him in every way. However, she refused to submit to him, and so she was banished from the Garden of Eden and replaced with Eve. In later Jewish folklore, Lilith became associated with demons and evil spirits. She was believed to be a seductress who preyed on men and caused them to have erotic dreams. She was also thought to be responsible for a range of illnesses and misfortunes. In modern times, Lilith has become a symbol of female empowerment and rebellion against male domination. Feminist scholars and writers have reinterpreted the Lilith myth as a story of a woman who refused to submit to patriarchal authority and was punished for it. Lilith has been celebrated in art, literature, and music as a powerful symbol of female strength and independence. Baba Yaga is a supernatural creature from Slavic folklore. She is typically depicted as an old, ugly witch with iron teeth and a long, hooked nose who lives in a hut deep in the forest. Baba Yaga is a complex character, sometimes benevolent and sometimes malevolent. Her stories have been passed down through generations and have evolved over time. The first written account of Baba Yaga appears in the 18th century in the collection of folk tales compiled by the Russian writer Afanasyev. However, Baba Yaga is believed to have existed in Slavic mythology long before this. Baba Yaga is often associated with the natural world and is said to have control over the elements. She is also associated with death and the afterlife. In some stories, Baba Yaga is a guardian of the forest who helps those who show her respect and wisdom. In other stories, she is a dangerous and malevolent creature who lures people to her hut to eat them. One of the most famous stories featuring Baba Yaga is the Russian fairy tale, Vasilisa the Beautiful. In this story, Vasilisa is sent to Baba Yaga's hut to get fire for her stepmother. Baba Yaga gives Vasilisa impossible tasks to complete, but ultimately helps her, and gives her a magical doll to help her on her journey. Baba Yaga has become a popular figure in literature and art, appearing in works by authors such as Nikolai Gogol and Marina Warner, and in films such as Hellboy and John Wick Chapter 2. Today, Baba Yaga remains a prominent figure in Slavic folklore and continues to captivate audiences around the world. The idea of werewolves, or humans transforming into wolves, has been a part of folklore and mythology for thousands of years across cultures around the world. In Greek mythology, the story of Lycaon, who was transformed into a wolf by Zeus as punishment for his wickedness, is often cited as an early example of a werewolf story. In medieval Europe, the belief in werewolves became widespread, and many people were accused of being werewolves and put on trial. The concept of lycanthropy, or the ability to transform into a wolf or other animal, was often associated with witchcraft and devil worship. During the 16th and 17th centuries, the hysteria surrounding werewolves reached its peak, and many people were executed for being werewolves. The belief in werewolves eventually died down, and they became relegated to the realm of myth and legend. However, werewolves have remained a popular subject in literature and entertainment. From the classic horror film The Wolf Man to modern TV shows like Teen Wolf, werewolves have continued to capture the imaginations of people around the world. Today, werewolves are often portrayed as creatures with heightened senses and physical abilities, as well as a primal and sometimes violent nature. They have become a staple of popular culture, and their legacy continues to live on in stories and legends. Sun Wukong, also known as the Monkey King, is a legendary character from Chinese mythology. His story has been told and retold in various forms of literature, including the classic novel Journey to the West. Sun Wukong was said to have been born from a stone egg, which was formed from a rock exposed to the powers of heaven and earth. He possessed incredible strength, speed, and agility, and was able to transform into 72 different animals and objects. In his early years, Sun Wukong caused havoc in the heavens, challenging the authority of the Jade Emperor and the other deities. He was eventually captured and imprisoned, but he escaped and made his way to Earth, where he became a disciple of the Buddhist monk Tong Sanzang. Sun Wukong accompanied Tong Sanzang on his journey to retrieve Buddhist scriptures from India, and along the way, he demonstrated his immense powers by defeating demons and monsters. He also had to face various trials and tribulations, including battles with powerful deities and demons. The character of Sun Wukong has remained popular in Chinese culture throughout the centuries and has been adapted in various forms of media, including films, television shows, video games, and theater productions. He is seen as a symbol of strength, courage, and determination, and his story continues to inspire and entertain people around the world. Dracula is a novel written by Bram Stoker and published in 1897. The novel tells the story of Count Dracula, a vampire who moves from Transylvania to England in order to spread the undead curse. The story of Dracula has since become a cultural phenomenon and has spawned numerous adaptations in literature, film, and television. The inspiration for Dracula came from Stoker's interest in European folklore and his fascination with the life of Vlad the Impaler, a ruler of Wallachia in the 15th century who was known for his brutal tactics against his enemies. Stoker's research on the history and legends surrounding Vlad the Impaler provided him with the inspiration for the character of Count Dracula. The novel itself is structured as a series of letters, diary entries, and newspaper articles, and tells the story of the attempts of several characters, including the protagonist Jonathan Harker, to defeat Count Dracula. The novel is known for its use of Gothic imagery, suspenseful plot twists, and its exploration of themes related to sexuality, power, and the dangers of modernity. The popularity of the novel led to numerous adaptations, including stage productions, films, and television series. One of the most famous film adaptations is the 1931 version starring Bela Lugosi, which helped cement the image of Dracula as a suave, sophisticated, and charismatic villain. Other notable adaptations include the 1992 film starring Gary Oldman and the television series Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which featured numerous references to the novel and its characters. Today, Dracula remains a cultural touchstone and one of the most enduring and influential works of horror fiction ever written. Poseidon is one of the major gods in Greek mythology, and his history is intricately tied to the development of Greek culture and religion. He is the god of the sea, earthquakes, and horses, and he was one of the 12 Olympian gods. The origins of Poseidon can be traced back to the Mycenaean culture of ancient Greece, where he was known as Poseidon or Poseidaon. He was originally a god of the earth and fertility, and his name means husband of the earth. As Greek culture evolved, Poseidon's domain shifted from the land to the sea, and he became associated with the power and unpredictability of the ocean. In the early Greek pantheon, Poseidon was often overshadowed by his more popular brother Zeus, the god of thunder and lightning. However, as sea travel became more important in Greek culture, Poseidon's importance grew, and he became a powerful and respected god in his own right. He was often invoked by sailors and fishermen who sought his protection and favor. Poseidon was also closely associated with horses, which were important to the ancient Greeks as symbols of wealth, power, and speed. He was said to have created the first horse by striking a rock with his trident, and he was often depicted riding a chariot drawn by powerful seahorses. Like many of the ancient Greek gods, Poseidon was often portrayed as capricious and moody, prone to fits of anger and violence. He was notorious for his violent temper, and he was often depicted wielding his trident as a weapon. Despite his sometimes violent nature, however, Poseidon was also seen as a protector and a source of strength, particularly for those who relied on the sea for their livelihoods. Overall, Poseidon played an important role in ancient Greek culture and mythology, and his influence can still be seen today in popular culture and art.